You are wrong about him. Right now, there is a guy in your life, maybe a coworker, maybe that friend who always texts back a little too fast, and you have no idea he's been flirting with you. That's not a guess, that's a statistic. Dr. Jeffrey Hall at the University of Kansas put over 100 strangers in a room, let them talk, and then asked a simple question. Was that person flirting with you? People got it right 28% of the time. A coin flip would have been more accurate. And women watching men flirt, 18%, the lowest of any group. So that guy at the party who kept finding excuses to stand near you, whose voice got a little quieter when it was just the two of you. Probably flirting. And you smiled politely and talked about the weather. Don't worry. I missed every sign too until I read the research. Now I'm ruining it for everyone. Here's what science says you should actually be looking for. There are 4 categories of signals men leak when they're attracted to you, and they escalate in order. First, his body. You can catch this from across the room. Then his voice, then his eyes. And finally, his words. Each one gets harder to spot and harder for him to fake. In 2016, a team led by Tanya Vacher-Kolksamsuk at UC Berkeley filmed 144 speed dates and coded every movement. They found that one behavior predicted romantic interest better than smiling, laughing, or nodding combined. It was posture. Specifically, how much space he takes up. For every unit of increase in what researchers called postural expansiveness, arms spread wider, torso stretched out, legs uncrossed, a person was 76% more likely to get picked for a second date. 76% from sitting differently. And it's not random. In the animal kingdom, the most dominant member of a group commands the most physical space. Chimps flail their arms, peacocks fan their feathers. Guys at bars throw an arm across the empty chair next to them. Same software, different hardware. I call this the peacock spread, and you can spot it without him ever knowing you're looking. Here's your experiment. Next time you're around him, watch how he sits when he's talking to his friend. Arms probably normal, body probably neutral. Now watch what happens when he turns to talk to you. Does his chest open up? Does he suddenly take up more room? Does his body angle toward you like you're the only exit in the building? That difference is the data. Sorry for the interruption, but if you're enjoying the video, consider subscribing to my channel. I'd like to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of June, so click that subscribe button. It's free and helps me out a lot. Now, let's get back to the video. But here's the catch. Dr. Hall found that polite flirts, guys who believe in being respectful and reserved, actually lean back and create more distance when they're interested. Their courtesy looks like coldness. So an open body is a strong signal, but a closed body isn't always a rejection. You've been looking for the wrong thing. Everyone talks about body language. Almost nobody talks about what happens to his voice. A team at the University of Stirling and the University of Liverpool, led by psychologist Juan David Leon Gomez, recorded over 200 people in conversation and measured their vocal pitch down to the frequency. What they found is wild. When a man talks to someone he finds attractive, his voice does a 2-step move. First, it gets more melodic, more variation, almost sing-songy, like he's subconsciously trying to seem warm and approachable. Then it drops, lower than his baseline, deeper than how he talks to everyone else. I call this the dip, and here's why it happens. Attraction triggers a small testosterone spike. Testosterone thickens vocal cords. Thicker cords vibrate at a lower frequency. He is not choosing to do this. His endocrine system is doing it for him. David Putz, an anthropologist at Penn State who spent years studying vocal pitch, found that deep male voices actually evolved more for intimidating other men than attracting women. But the shift, the drop from his normal register, that's the attraction signal. It's not about how deep his voice is. It's about how much deeper it gets around you. Here's your test. Listen to him order coffee. Listen to him talk to his buddy. Then listen to him talk to you. If there's a noticeable difference, slower, warmer, lower, that's involuntary. That's chemistry doing the talking. And here's something nobody expects. A guy whose voice goes higher around you, that might actually be a stronger sign. That's not disinterest. That's anxiety. That's a guy who likes you so much his nervous system is short-circuiting. In the 1960s, psychologist Eckhart Hess was reading in bed when his wife told him his pupils looked huge. He had plenty of light. So the next day he ran an experiment, showed his research assistant a series of photos while tracking his pupil size. Landscapes, architecture, nothing special. Then a photo of an attractive woman. His assistant's pupils blew wide open. That launched an entire field called pupillometry. And in 2021, researchers replicated Hess's findings with modern equipment and 329 participants. The result? Held. Your pupils dilate when you see someone you're attracted to. And you cannot stop it. Here's the mechanism. Attraction floods your brain with dopamine. Dopamine activates the sympathetic nervous system, the same system behind fight or flight. Except here, it's not fear, it's want. His brain registers you as a reward, and his pupils physically open wider to take in more of you. He doesn't know it's happening. Which do you think is more reliable? What a guy says or what his pupils do? Exactly. Italian women figured this out centuries before neuroscience existed. They used drops from the belladonna plant to dilate their pupils before seeing men. Belladonna literally translates to beautiful woman. They knew dilated eyes were attractive. They just didn't know it was a dopamine response. Your test requires closeness. When you're face-to-face in decent lighting, glance at his eyes. Are his pupils wider than the room explains? Compare to when he's talking about something boring. That gap is your answer. But, and this matters, pupils also dilate from caffeine, dim rooms, and adrenaline. One signal alone proves nothing. His body, his voice, and his eyes are all involuntary. This last one is where it gets conscious, and where most people get confused. Dr. Jeffrey Hall coded 36 verbal and nonverbal flirting behaviors in paired conversations at the University of Kansas. One finding stood out for men specifically. Men who were interested did one thing more than anything else. They talked more. Not louder, not smoother, just more. More questions, more self-disclosure, more words directed specifically at the person they liked. That sounds obvious. It's not, because it doesn't look like flirting. It looks like a guy who just really likes talking. And that's exactly why women miss it. But the real tell is what I call the unprompted reveal. That's when he volunteers something personal that nobody asked for. Not bragging. That's insecurity wearing a costume. I mean something slightly vulnerable, a fear, a weird hobby, a story that makes him look imperfect on purpose. That's a man trying to create an oxytocin loop. He shares something real. Your brain releases oxytocin, you feel closer, you share back. His brain releases oxytocin. It's a neurochemical handshake. Here's your test. Does he future project with you? We should try that place. You'd love this movie. Next time we hang out. Future tense language that includes you is one of the strongest verbal indicators of interest. And here's something researcher Dina Pinsky found in 2023. College students now believe flirting basically requires a digital component. In-person flirting feels riskier and more embarrassing. So if he's doing all this to your face, that means more than it used to. Now, before you go staring into some poor guy's pupils at Starbucks, one signal means nothing. Two signals mean maybe. Three or more signals from different categories, that's a cluster. And clusters are where the science gets reliable. Researcher Monica Moore at Webster University found that women typically need to make eye contact with a man 3 separate times before he even registers it as a signal. Flirting isn't a moment, it's a sequence. And reading it works the same way. So here's your checklist. His posture opens up around you. His voice drops or gets warmer. His pupils are wider than the lighting justifies. And he's asking you questions and sharing things he didn't need to share. That's not a friendly guy. That's a cluster. That's four independent biological systems all saying the same thing. So now you can read him. His body, his voice, his eyes, his words. You know what to look for and you know why it happens. You're already better than the 18%. But here's the part nobody talks about. Knowing he's flirting is only half the problem. The other half is what you do next. Because most people freeze. You laugh too hard, you say, "Oh, that's cool," and immediately want to disappear. Or worse, you flirt back in a style he can't read either, and you both walk away thinking the other person wasn't interested. You now have the science to read him. But can he read you? That's a different problem and it's fixable. I'll break that down in the next one. If you don't want to miss it, you know what to do.